them sending us something back that's saying that they're aware of that now, you know, so we'll reach out to them again, and until it's done,
Yeah, the one group, they had surrounded Southland Mall, they surrounded Heritage Park,
Yeah.
all points of
That's the
entry.
same
and
person, but with another name, what different.
Same person.
It must be a lucrative process
Yes,
for them.
it's definitely got some,
And then for state.
doesn't pass the.
So are we gonna wait on this then before?
Yeah,
we
until
I
they,
didn't put it on there.
yeah, we just talked about that, it was coming, but it won't come until everything.
Not this one, not the Knights of Columbus.
No.
We're
No,
not waiting on
yeah.
that.
we're talking about that. Okay, so item 26 is a motion to amend resolution 3.115-19 related to the city's ERP system, increasing the amount to $497,055, which will be spread over the remainder of the 10-year contract. Mr. Kosher.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So, update time. What's before you guys is pretty much a change order. So, as we are about to roll out the ERP system with respects to the financial side, procurement, and we've already actually rolled out the budgeting side. So basically, as we've been implementing the system, during the implementation stage last months and stuff like that, we came up with the recommended changes based on the system, implementation, talking to some of the stakeholders like departments. I know I talked to Keith, talked to Guido, stuff like that. On the procurement side, kind of giving them the idea of what we want to do. They gave some feedback and said, you know what, I think that it would be more efficient if we had more licenses in procurement for some of the foremen, some of the other people involved that didn't have original licenses. So we reviewed all that and we came up with recommendations. You know what, with everything, the processes in place, you know what, that makes more sense. You know, make things more efficient, things like that. So what we looked at is we're looking for additional licenses and a couple of products we already have under contract. That would be the purchasing side would be the bigger one, but that's offset by a couple of the modules that we don't need that was on the original pricing. For example, the CRM. The CRM is going to be done through GovSense with the building department service requests and stuff like that. So we take those out, which is about $30-some thousand, and we replace it with the purchasing additional licenses about $30,000. So they kind of offset each other. Also on the planning and budgeting, we began going through the process. We noticed that, like I said, there were some departments that were just, we were under the understanding that, you know what, we're just going to include department heads with that licensing. But as we talked to some of the larger departments, DPW, rec, and things like that, we made sense that, you know what, we did create the workflow that some of the managers, like planning department manager, rec center manager, golf manager, or assistant director would have access to the budgeting system, and then they would promote their budgets to the director, who would then review and approve the budget. So all that being said, we would need additional licenses for those items so that we can get all that cleaned up. And we actually have that in place right now, but there's a few people who don't have access because of that license. So we're asking for additional license there. The configuration, it's not stopping the configurations all there, it's just the additional license. Once it's approved, then it's really just an on switch for those licensees, and then they'll have access to the system. The other side is and then on the finance module, we only need one license there because of an approval for cash management, so we need just one license there. So that being said, the rest of the other costs is for new modules, and just kind of go over briefly what these new modules are. The one I'm most excited about is the automated invoice processing. So basically, I mean, if anybody has better budget and finance, you will see that we have large cabinets full of invoices that we pay, by vendor, file like that. So what this will help is when an invoice comes in, they use OCR software that they scan in the invoice will go into our financial system, track down POs, track down amounts, and pretty much automatically receive the invoice instead of having to do it manually. Now, obviously, there might be exceptions, but the system will learn those exceptions and try to, and make things more efficient. So that being said, that's the one I'm most, the most impressed with trying to get going is that It'll make the invoice processing a lot faster, a lot more efficient for everybody involved as well. So that's one of the new modules that we were looking into. We demoed, we tested, we looked at it, and we think that's something that we definitely want to move forward with. But based on your approval, we want to recommend moving forward with that. The OIC, or the Oracle Integration Cloud, what that is it's an interfacing application. So as of right now, we're using some of it for our interfacing with the payroll system. But what this will do is we'll create easier interfacing with systems, and more importantly, future systems. So we do recognize that there may be, at Compos, we may want a new system at Compos, okay? So if we get a new system at Compos, we got to interface it with the Oracle system, and this OIC is an application that will make that interfacing a lot easier, a lot smoother, and less costly. Because if you didn't have this OIC application, then you would have to, you would have to hire, software engineers to come out to do that interface for you. But this OIC product by Oracle is a tool that helps the interfacing. So the golf systems, the rec systems, any future systems as well too, this OIC application will be there for us to utilize in order to help out with that interface. And then the other one is the business intelligence, or BI. So what that does is that's the dashboard, and it will allow all non-financial users to be able to go in and grab data from the financial system. For example, department heads right now have to kind of jump through little hoops to go get transactional detail for their accounts. Like, I have contractual services account, I want to know what's in that account. They have to jump through some hoops to get to that as it currently presented in our current system. So with the OCTBI, the business intelligence, all that will be at their fingertips, and then they also can set up key performance indicators and things like that that will be at one-touch items for them. Basically, any information that the department head or manager or the mayor and city council also would have a license to this, would have some data at their fingertips that they can go. For example, paid invoice reports. Obviously, we can do a receive and file, but at any time, council can look it up and you can have your paid invoice report in real time if you wanted to see that. Or if you wanted to see more information or something like that related to paid invoice report, you guys will have access to that. So that's the plan with the business intelligence, is to give that access to the decision makers to make faster, more accurate decision making. So we went through the demo and stuff. That was a really good tool, and like I said, we're excited to improve. We're excited to get that going. And again, once we get all this set up, we will have to train and bring everybody in and things like that. So those are, like I said, those are the new applications that are in this. Some things I just want to point out, is that the cost is, roughly an additional $53,000 per year, with $13,000 coming down, 21 coming from water and sewer, and the remainder comes from building department. But also, one thing to note too is that the representatives from Oracle, which is through Cyber, they're not adding any more implementation costs. As I said, they're going to do this free of charge, or they're going to include in their current implementation costs. So that's one thing to note too. That's I don't say it's nice, just something I negotiated with them, because it's been a couple weeks trying to negotiate this and get licenses down and get everything included. So that being said, I know I did a nice number for you guys, so I'll give you a little bit more information. I don't know if anybody had a chance to look online at any of the applications and demos, but that's one good thing about this system, is that there is a plethora of information online for anything related to the systems that we have. So if anybody has any questions or wants to see how something works, we can go online. There's YouTube videos that are all over the place. So I'm happy to try to answer any questions I can right now.
I just have one real quick one, like, who is, is it Granicus, is it Oracle? Who's helping you navigate this stuff? Because I know it's not your, but I want to make sure we're being led in the right direction, getting stuff that we do need, stuff that we don't need.
And to be honest with you, Cyber is the company who, Oracle is the software, and Cyber is a company that is kind of like the project manager on Oracle side. So they're in charge of the GovSense, they're in charge of the Oracle, and like I said, they're in charge of the Granicus as well. But like I said, Granicus is its own little thing because it was one of those alternative items that we chose as a city to do back then. But they've been helping out, and, you know, they've been doing a good job. I mean, we were kind of standing still trying to get some stuff worked out, but since last couple of months after the audit season was done, we've been really rocking and rolling and getting stuff done. So, I mean, like you said, department heads have been working with the budgeting and planning, system in Oracle. And like I said, we'll be happy to show you guys those results when it's up your turn on the budget stuff, but it's gonna be really nice. But other than that, they're helping out. I mean, they're the ones that are, you know, meeting with me every week, discussing phone calls every day, things like that. So, so we're getting to it. We're getting down to the final stretch, in my opinion. And so I'm excited to get it all done. It's just this particular change order. We believe that this will make everything more efficient for the city. Let's go from there. But as you mentioned, there was a couple things on here, like the CRM and the OCS. We don't need them. We identified them during the invitations, like, hey, we don't need these modules. We want these off. And they took it off. They gave us credit for everything that we used so far for them. So we've been working together, and our IT department's actually been helping out a lot too with the technology side. I've been learning a lot as I go, but some things I just don't know. I've asked Steve Hall or Wally, the other person in there, they help me out with, you know, defining some of the stuff. So.
And Michelle's been going to all these classes, so she's kind of learning it all. She's going to show us, you know, she's been getting with me, hey, I don't think we need this or whatever, so she's doing a great job on that.
I have a question about the licensing. Is it a license, like say the council would have you just have to purchase one license?
Nope, it's actually, it's individual, it's based on email user, so it would be, you know, 7 licenses per council. You have your own unique license. And one of the beauty things about the system, you don't need to be on the city's system to use it. You could be at home. You got a single sign-on, so you would log in underneath your city name, but you can use it as long as you got Wi-Fi and a computer or phone, you can log on and get information at your fingertips. That being said, like I said, with Granicus, again, we're testing the Granicus, which is the agenda system. A few questions and snags, but I think what we're going to do, I did talk to the chairman last week, is I'm going to bring in a couple, chairman and a couple others on council if you guys want to see the system, and go over a few comments and questions, you know, kind of work on the system, because we have the workflow done, we have the configuration all set. Just when we went to the test phase, I went through it with a couple people and I said, well, you know, what about this, this, and this? So we're working on fine tuning that, but I want some opinions from council because to see how you guys want to move forward on a couple items that I have comments on.